Okay, so now we're recording. Looking at 25 big blinds, button versus big blind. And we're going to be switching positions as we go through. So here's our big blind range. We're jamming a lot of pairs pre-flop, or three betting the best ones. And I assume just jamming, sixes, sevens, eights, and nines probably. Either three betting or jamming some of these strong aces, then mixing a lot of offsuit hands and mostly calling suited hands. And then here's the button range. Seems standard to me. Okay. So we have trips. I mean, he does have a couple worse Jack X in his range, actually. I mean, just some suited ones.
I think here we defend mostly by raising. So it's a pair board and we have it. So all our jacks are raising.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, because we have a lot of bluffs we can balance, like straight draws or even something like Queen 10. Just hands with like a 9 or an 8 or a 10 in it. I'm sure some of those are getting raised, so let's raise. I mean, it's raising 35% of the time, but it says calling's a little bit better.
Okay.
So let's see what it's doing here. And then just so everyone can see, we have 1/3 or 2/3 on flop, either as like a dong from out of position or in position. You can raise 75% of the pot. Ideally, I would have something like 40% and 60% as raise sizes, but I made these a little while back when I wasn't as familiar with how to set these up properly, but it shouldn't change it that much. And then turn a river, we have 1/3, 2/3, and 120%. Yeah, so normal enough. So we are leading a tiny bit here. I would probably just check my range, honestly. So he's betting most of his range. Let's see what the equity looks like. He has a pretty big advantage. Yeah, actually, I think we don't have pocket sevens, and we're three betting ace jack. Yeah, I mean three betting king jack off a little bit. Actually, three betting jack 10 suited as well. So we're lacking jacks a little bit, but Louis, who do you think has higher concentration of trips here, the button or the big blind?
Pretty sure it's gonna be the big blind.
Yeah, so let's see. The button has 46% of hands. Big blind has 67%. I think it might be the button. Nah, probably not. Cause I think we have like hands as bad as Jack 4 off. So
Yeah,
actually, we have every Jack.
yeah.
Some are mixing. Yeah, so I think probably the big blind. So in position here has trips 10%. Yeah, actually the button does have trips slightly more. It's 8% versus 10%. So I'm just gonna look at this in position range for a second, see if anything seems funky to me. So checking like the worst sevens, checking quads a little bit, checking some of these bad aces, because I assume this is kind of the cutoff where like betting these would isolate the big blind to be calling with better aces and folding worse aces, whereas betting like ace deuce makes the big blind fold better aces, and then probably like the same type of thing as you're hitting like the middle of these high card hands.
Yeah. So on this type of texture, bet small with your range.
Yep. Hey, your favorite, right? So let's see if they bet small right in game. Yeah. So now this is big blind. So yeah, we do. I think you mentioned this before. We're mostly raising here. In terms of like how we defend, we're raising more than we're calling.
Yep.
So let's see what we're raising here. In terms of our trips,
We're raising every jack we have, but not the strong ones.
No.
Look at jack 10 off to jack 7 off.
So I actually think I'm kind of curious why Jack 8 is rating. Like I think maybe for these we want to call it Jack 10 and Jack 9 to let them hit a straight. Like when we hit a boat, they hit a straight sometimes. But like with
I,
Jack,
I
sorry,
just
go
think
ahead.
it's our strongest jacks. All of our strongest jacks are checking because we don't really have that many stronger jacks. Like we have queen jack suited and king. Like look at the king jack suited. It checks a lot as well. So I think all of our strong jacks are
You
one
you
of
will you mean call not check.
yeah yeah that's what I mean.
Yeah, I wonder why he doesn't want to bet the best ones. I mean, maybe because in position is going to be firing off with like some king highs. Um, maybe we just don't have enough bluffs to be balancing raising every single jack. Um, so like if a 9 hits, that means 10-8 gets there. If an 8 hits, it means 10-9 gets there. I'm just kind of curious why.
Maybe the lower jacks are more vulnerable, but I don't see to what.
I think also the lower jacks. Well, I think in position is more likely to start bluffing off with hands like a 10 and a 9 because those can like turn into straight blockers.
Yeah,
Whereas we don't really care if they have like a 6 or a 5 or a 4 in those in their hand.
I think that makes a
Maybe.
lot of sense because when we have like we don't block the straights, so
Yeah.
we don't block his connectivity basically.
Yeah, I'm just curious why like Jack 8 gets thrown in there because it's kind of the same theory as Jack 9, Jack 10. Um, yeah. So let's see what else we're raising here. Yeah, like I was thinking some like 10, 10x, 9x, 8x with
All our
backdoor
backdoor.
flush draws. Yeah, 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. Let's see, I wonder if any of our sevens are raising. Yeah, our best 7x's are raising. Makes sense. So like we're raising like 8-7's kind of the worst one. I'll just pull up the range explorer to see it a little bit easier. So yeah, a lot of trips, second pair. Let's see. So on board we have a spade, diamond, and a club. Spade, diamond, and club. I'm just seeing how like the suits interact here. So I'm not really sure why. It's like ace of hearts, 3 of spades. Like I get it, it only blocks one backdoor flush. But then like ace of diamonds, 3 of hearts also only blocks one of them, but it gets raised more often.
For people that are not familiar with Pile, we're looking at the bottom right. When we move the mouse, we see like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
different action for the combos.
yeah, over here. So I think actually I think you don't want to have the suit that matches the like the high card on board or like the trip card in this case to an extent. I think maybe I don't fully understand this yet, but maybe it's because you'll back into I don't know why. Like remember one time we were looking like I think maybe in our last session how like the board was like ace 7 deuce or something like that and we were being less aggressive with the suit that matched the ace.
Yeah,
Do you know why that is?
no, I don't.
Okay. Maybe if we in a paired board, I think it's not the same theory, so maybe in one of our next hands we'll be able to check that out. All right, so still going through our check raise range here. Yeah, something like king 8, king 9, king 10 makes some sense. Yeah, like I think like king 10 is just good enough to call, which it's calling sometimes. Yeah, I think king 9 is a pretty good choice. King deuce seems a little bit random, but I mean, I get it. It folds out better kings. And what is our like nothing here? Yeah, these are all some like 3 straight backdoor flush draw type hands, it looks like. The 10 and the 9 and the 8. Yeah, okay, seems good. All right, so we did end up, yeah, we raised and they just folded. Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it seems like our Jack 8 did not really want. It kind of mixed strategy on after the bet, but
Yeah, but it looks like it's really close, EV wise between raising or calling. It's kind of interesting how when we raise back, they're supposed to just like get it in fairly often. I guess that makes sense, you know, because we're starting the hand 25 blinds deep. So like when we raise, you know, and our raise is fairly large here from 18 to 86. The SPR is going to be like really low when they just flat. So they just want to get in with like their best sevens.
King Queen suited.
Yeah, I think that's just like a blocker thing maybe.
Yeah, King Jack and Queen Jack.
Or just, you know, our check raise range has a lot of bluffs in it too, of course. So kind of just immediately denies equity from our bluffs getting there. So then also raising back some of his vulnerable like pocket pairs, the ones that are higher than the 7. So 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, quads, queens, and then aces and kings can just call. And I think like just like ace queen off probably just has enough equity to go with it versus all our bluffs mixed in there. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now we're on the button. So check to us. I'm not sure.
I think
So villain, big blind is 3-betting Jack 10 suited a decent amount and Jack 10 off, and they don't have jacks or 10s. So this might be a range bet spot. Though with our hand, I'm not sure it accomplishes much with our hand.
we
I mean,
still get protection from a 10, a 9, an ace, a king. And so I think we could be ahead and we're not going to be able to fire again, I think. So I think it's bet small, shut down, and go for a showdown.
yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking this hand doesn't accomplish a ton. I mean, of course, it'll fold out some random overcards, which is good.
Maybe I think we can get pocket sixes to fold maybe sometimes. Pocket
I
seven.
think there's a chance we bet big on this flop actually, because they actually don't have ace jack either at all. And when we bet big, they're probably gonna have to fold 6s and 7s.
Also, we have a pretty
Actually,
large.
they don't have 6s and 7s now that I think about it.
Oh,
I'll go
okay.
for the big bet, see what happens.
Okay.
No, it likes check.
Okay.
Yeah, I assume we just fold to this raise, yeah.
Genius raise with the king deuce.
Yeah, it's blocking the bottom set. So we are just mostly betting small here. Maybe, I think it might be when we start the hand, only 25 blinds effective. There's probably not as much big betting. I might have been thinking more about like 40 blind spots. You know, it's probably worth us looking at the aggregate report real quick.
Yeah, big betting seems to be mostly for value.
Yeah, but there's usually some bluffs mixed in that I've noticed. I think I have an aggregate report here.
The only ones I see here are like king nine, king eight, king seven.
Uh, you're looking for the big bets on the right? Um, yeah, I mean like our overpairs are the clear ones. Usually it mixes in like high card, low card that are blocking their best top pair. But really there's just not a lot of big betting in this one in general. So is this, I just want to make sure this is like, these are the same sims that we're looking at. I think they are. Sorry, I gotta like format it real quick. Whoops. All right, so let's see what we got here. We'll start with our most bet boards for in position. Let's make it a little bigger here. Actually, I'll look at the average as well. Give me a second here. Where is the freeze panes thing? There we go. All right, so on average across all these boards, we're checking 20% of the time, betting small about half the time, betting large about 20%. And our equity is about 60%, which is actually pretty high.
Yeah.
I think that's probably just because big blind has to jam a lot of their pairs and, you know, three betting ace jack plus offsuit and suited. All right, so looking at our most frequently bet, or, you know, our least checked, you know, same idea. So 3-3-3, I mean, that makes sense. Just like the most dry the board could possibly be. Ace 8-5. So like I notice how none of these boards have like deuces in them, because I think like deuces is the pair that's called the most. So like on a lot of these boards, they can't have any sets, I think, which is pretty relevant. Also, a lot of them are like ace high boards, and they're three betting ace jack off plus ace jack suited plus, so they're lacking the best aces. I think most of them are rainbow. A couple of these are two-tone.
The two-tone ones always have the ace.
Um,
No?
Seems like it, yeah. Or well, this queen queen deuce is two-tone.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, with the queen queen X, you know, we have an advantage with the better queens. Yeah, so it's like a lot of like paired boards or ace high, and then I mean these trip boards don't happen fairly often, but these tend to be very high frequency c bet for in position, like kind of regardless of the stacks and regardless of the positions. You know, just the person with the tighter range has a
Yeah.
advantage on the trip boards. So let's look at the ones we check the most. Yeah, so this kind of makes sense. 7-6-5, 8-7-5. It's like the one where they're straight on board. I'm not sure if we're opening like 9-8 off. I think we are. But I think 9-6 off. We don't open 5-4 off. We don't open. So we're like lacking the straights here to an extent. The king 4-4. That's not very intuitive that we would check this a lot, but I think it's because
Every pair pair. Oh, well, the
none.
four.
Yeah, with the 4 and the 4. Because, you know, big blind has a higher concentration of fours than us, I assume. So 5-3 deuce, I think threes and deuces are the pocket pairs that are in the big blinds range the most, so it's not really great for us. And like we're not opening, you know, 5-3 off, 5 deuce off, 3 deuce off. Then like a lot of straight boards, you know, going down. So let's quickly look at like large bet versus small bet, and then we can get back to it. So small bet looks like paired boards with a high card paired. So king king 9-9, jack jack, queen queen, 10-10, king king, 8-8. So I noticed like none of these are like, you know, with a 5-5 or a 4-4. You know, like we just saw a second ago with the king 4-4, we're actually checking quite a bit. So, yep. Ace king 3 monotone seems normal. All right, let's look at the big bet here. So ace 8-5 rainbow. I probably wouldn't think to necessarily bet that one big. I guess there are a lot of straight draws here.
No. I know why. Uh,
Why?
when the big queen defends, he had a lot of weak ace, and we have all the top part of our range: ace king, ace queen, ace jack. So for all the times we have ace king, and villain has like ace, a weaker ace, we want to get value. That's why we want to bet this type of texture very large.
Okay. It just I kind of get a little confused because, you know, I would think, you know, we don't really need protection, which I feel like sometimes the theory behind betting big is like protection, like especially when the board is like very connected all around, like say
Well, the big blind,
like a queen 8-5 board, you know?
yeah, but the big blind has a very high concentration of aces, and we have all the strong ones. So it's really a value thing, I think.
Okay. I mean, I don't really agree that they have a high concentration of aces, but definitely they're lacking a lot of good ones that we have. So
Okay, well, put it
that
this way.
definitely
They
helps us.
defend, they defend all of their aces. Pre-flop.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Like yeah, even the very worst ones, yeah. So I mean like some of these are starting like these seem a little bit more intuitive, like ace jack 7, ace jack 9 with a lot of straight draws. I mean maybe I don't have like a crazy amount of boards on here. Just like 170, 160.
That's fine.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just missing some of those examples that that I kind of thinking of off the top of my head. All right, let's get back into some hands here. Yeah, see, I thought there was a chance we led on this one, and we do actually lead a little bit.
I think we lead.
I mean, I was just thinking like the deuce deuce on board is like kind of a brick, doesn't really hit us too hard. We'll pull up the sim in a second. So we went check check flop. You know, I assume we bet this one. Not sure how large.
I think we want to bet very large.
You think we overbet or just 2/3?
2/3.
Yeah, that's what I would guess. I like checking. It's kind of surprising. I guess maybe they're checking back some queen X, so it's not like we have like 6-5 where we more want to bet. So let's check it out. Yeah, so yeah, I guess so this leads a bit more than you would think because since it's button versus big blind, we're defending these like trashy. You know, we have king deuce off, queen deuce off, jack deuce off when we usually would not have those in range.
Oh,
Even
what the first thing I notice is when it leads, it wants to lead large.
yeah, I think you just need a lot of protection with your fives. I'm just checking something real quick here, like at 40 blinds. Yeah, see, like at 40, we don't have like queen deuce, jack deuce, or 5 deuce. So that helps us a bit more. And then obviously I would assume like big blind versus like under the gun. Yeah, we obviously we have to be tighter. So I think this is just one of the rare scenarios where we do have a lot of trips with the deuce because of our offsuit combos. So yeah, so we're betting a lot of deuces. I wonder why like these ones bet more than these, because I would think we want to like cooler, because like buttons should have more like high cards in their range than these. So I would think we want to like cooler them. But let's see. I'm not really sure. Why do you think why do you think we're leading more on our like better deuces, but not these? Because like I know it's like in position doesn't really have any deuces at all besides ace deuce, king deuce, queen deuce. Maybe it's just a balancing thing.
Um, I don't know. It really feels like it wants to lead with the strong ones and not the weak ones. So
But just like the thing is, the only deuces that in position has is ace deuce, king deuce, queen deuce. So like even these are losing to those. Obviously, you're not going to run into that very often at all. So
maybe you don't want to block 6/7 that could bet call the flop because we're supposed to bet the flop basically. I think no. Oh, okay. No, it's the leading.
yeah, we're looking at leading here. Yeah, actually, I think that does make sense. Where I'm not sure if it's exactly what you said, but the in position wants to bluff with like lower cards in their hand.
That might
Since
make it straight like 6/7 or
yeah, back into it straight. Well, even more, I also think they want to be checking back some queen high, jack high, 10 high, just to protect their equity. Like, I think this is an example where in position is going to be checking back a lot of their backdoor flush draws to protect their equity.
Mhm.
There's a chance that's not the situation just because of how much we're supposed to be leading. But we'll definitely check that in a second. So let me actually look at that now before I forget. So we'll say we checked. So yeah, it's kind of holding true. Like if you look at these combos here, so on board we have club, spade, diamond. So the hearts are not a backdoor flush draw. And then with a bunch of these combos, the hearts want to bet the most.
Okay.
Well, I think the five is just top pair. And then I think king four. I think these ones are just efficient to use in general, our worst kings. Yeah, you can see this that's kind of the scenario. So let me actually go back to the leading range for a second here. So yeah, betting like half of our trips, maybe. Let's look at our fives now. Betting a lot of those.
We're
Betting.
not leading often with ace high on this board.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me because we can just happily check call. Well, I mean, we could check call with trips too, but I think we just want to push equity and, be balanced with bluffs and some nutted hands. What about like our immediate straight draws, like 6-4, 4-3? So yeah, those are betting a decent amount. Betting a lot of 7x, kind of surprising because we don't have a backdoor flush draw. I guess they're probably just efficient to fold out some better high card hands.
The five is leading a lot, but what about the sixes?
Yeah, the sixes are leading quite a bit, as you can see here. And then the threes as well. So like a 3 and a 4 are the immediate straight draws, and the sixes are 3 to a straight with the 6-5 deuce. Okay, let's keep going here. So we checked. So kind of the common pattern here where these very best high card hands are just c-betting for value. And then like this middle portion here are kind of the splitting point where they're not very efficient hands to c-bet with because they fold out worse and isolate themselves to better calls for the most part. Yeah, so check, check, deuce of hearts. What did we actually do here? We bet 36. Yeah, it likes the 2/3. So we'll see what they are defending if we bet 2/3 after the check, check. Actually, I'm sorry, I liked the over bet. 66 into 55. Wait, but it says our best option is check. Oh, okay, yep, that's right. Just barely. Yeah, so I mean, of course, if we were to overbet, it they have to fold quite a bit. With this being a full rainbow board with 3 of a kind on board. Kind of interesting how they just raise us with a bunch of ace highs. I guess our range does have quite a bit of bluffs in it. think we're just bluffing like our lowest equity hands for the most part, with some value, of course. Yeah, it's like these hands are all orange and they're betting quite a bit. All right, anything else you want to look at for this one?
Oh, good.
All right.
Or either checking or betting large.
Yeah, actually, I'm mostly checking on that turn. All right, so here we are on the button. I think we probably check because I think this is one of the ones, like, you know, I mentioned before, it's kind of in the middle of that ace high range where it's not a very efficient hand to start betting. I could be wrong.
I think we want to bet large.
So, I mean, maybe I'm just thinking they don't have jacks, tens, or sixes in range. Three betting some of their jack tens. We do double block some backdoor flush draws. I guess we'll go for large, see what happens. It likes small bet, but not by much.
Okay.
Let's look at the strat real quick. So no leading. Yeah, so I guess it likes checking some of its suited aces a little bit more than offsuit to protect itself from getting raised. And then, like I mentioned, that other hand, it prefers to not have a backdoor flush draw to bet some of these just to protect its equity. Let's see what it's checking here.
So it likes to bet large with like ends like that have an 8 or a 9. Or a 7, because they
Sort of.
interact with the straights, and then
Yeah, I think it
what-
blocks the open ender, and it's like how much. Yeah, they don't have all the king queens in range, so I think it's more relevant to block 9-8 than king queen. Well, I mean 9-8 suited is game 3 bet a little bit. 9-8 off's in there pure. So like checking some bottom pairs, checking some middle pairs. So yeah, like in terms of betting large, queen jack off, queens kings, queen jack suited, king 9, a little bit of these high card, low card. And yeah, mostly betting small. Okay. All right, so we're just checking here. I think this is a bet large board, right? I would think so for in position. I mean, we just fold, but
I don't think so. I think he bets small.
nope. I thought you just said earlier when the ace is on board, you want to pump it in.
Yeah, but not with two high cards. An ace and a high card, I don't think so.
Well, I think you would because there's so many straight draws the big blind can have.
Okay.
That's how I usually think about it. Doesn't always hold true. Like, see, like these are the most bet 2/3. You know, there's like ace jack 9, ace jack 7, ace 10-5, ace 10-8. I think that's the board where we have right now. So yeah, pretty much betting range. I think that's, because don't have aces, 10s, or 8s in the big blind. Don't have ace 10. Ace 8 is probably mixing some. We mostly have ace 8 in range. Yeah, I would think the range advantage here is pretty big. Yeah, it's
So
really big, 67.
bet large with range. Wow.
I mean, not necessarily. It's splitting it fairly evenly. It's probably a safe idea to.
Bet large.
I was gonna say maybe you can just use a random number generator and just bet big half the time with every combo. But I mean, there are clearly some combos where you want to bet small, like our top set, middle set, And then it starts to bet large a bit more with like the high card, low card, which I've kind of seen as a pattern. So yeah, I don't know, you could bet like 35% with everything or 40% instead of, because we have 2/3 or 1/3. So
Nice.
yeah, so they had exactly aces, so that's why they bet small. Just wanted to check really quick to see how often we're raising. Raising a little bit, mostly calling. All right. So I assume we just bet small here.
Yeah, pair board.
And I would think we're calling a check raise. I'm pretty sure we would call a check raise.
Yeah.
I'll just confirm that real quick. I would assume this is a pure bet small, yeah, with range. So he would be raising a lot of trips, deuces, mixing some flush draws, calling with the very best flush draws, like the 2 high card hand flush draws, just calling, due to the blocker removal effects where, you'd rather pump it in with like king 3 spades, so you can hopefully run into like queen 10 of spades, queen jack of spades. Yeah, so I'll say they do raise. Yeah, we're pretty much pure calling with like king jack of diamonds. And most of our, if you have 2 overcards to the 9 with backdoor diamonds, you're pretty much calling.
So and are we raising back with the spades? That's what I saw.
Yeah, it looks like some of them, actually a lot of them are. Yeah, pretty much all pretty much all of them are, as long as looks like as long as they have at least 1 overcard to the 9. I'm not sure why that's super relevant though, because like the 9 is paired on here, so like being above a 9 isn't super relevant. Well, I assume it's because out of position is check raising like a lot of high card stuff, and even maybe even like junky stuff like Jack 5 with the Jack of Spades. So us having high card is actually fairly relevant.
And if we were betting a hand like ace of spade, brick, like ace of spade 5, are we folding to the raise?
You mean if we check raise that hand?
If we get check raised with that hand, we're never
So
folding.
I'm sorry, you're saying in position we continuation bet with like ace 5 and
Yeah,
we get raised. You want to see if we call?
yeah, pretty
Okay,
sure.
gotcha. Yeah, we do call with the ace of spades, like ace of spades 5. They are kind of marginal. We're looking at like a pot of like 150. It's only making like 5 chips.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder if something like, like king jack off with the spade, I wonder if that's making much more money. No, it's really not. It's losing a bit of money.
Okay. And what about ace 10 with the 10 of spade? Same pattern?
I'm sorry, just to go back for a second, I think actually like king jack off isn't as relevant because the out of position, they're check raising a lot of deuces. So as long as we have overcard to the deuce, which is obviously any card. So like ace 5 is kind of just as good as king jack in a sense. So sorry, you're asking about a hand. Were you saying like ace 10? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. The 10 of spade is also raising. What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. So let's see if we raise them back. What are they folding? Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that like we saw a minute ago, they're check raising a lot of those. Just like jack 5 single spade. So we're denying equity from those. Sorry, hold on one second.
So yeah, it's true. Big blind should defend mostly by raising. So our strategy
Yeah.
would be, I've never explored really what to do when I raise so much, basically.
Yeah, and also of course, we're starting the hand with 25 big blinds. So like getting it in with like, going raise, re-raise, get it in, even with like ace 10 single spade, is not that. It's not as much of a punt as you may think.
We're never folding a deuce.
No, I highly doubt it. So yeah, so we see bet, they raise, and then Well, yes, like we would raise back, get it in with a deuce
Hmm,
versus their check raise, which seems
okay.
fine to me. I mean, they're check raising all those junky single spade hands, bunch of flush draws, plenty of worse deuces. So yeah, like I think even our equity is pretty high with the deuce. Even versus check raise, we have almost 50% equity. But there's a ton in the pot already, so we probably only need like 30% equity to be making money. You know what I mean? All right, so we can keep going. That was a good one though. I think that's fairly common where some paired boards, the out of position defends through a check raise a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the Jack 7 was the same thing too, right? I can actually pull it back up real quick. Yeah, and probably because we're so short stacked.
Yeah.
So we're actually leading this hand a little bit. It kind of makes sense. All right, so 6. Really not sure what size to pick here. I assume we're betting.
Small.
Like 1/3?
25%.
Hmm?
25%. One
I only
third.
I have 1/3, 2/3.
One
Uh,
third. One third is what we're. Yeah.
no, it likes checks half the time. Says it's a little bit better.
Okay.
Deuce of spades. I mean, granted, it went check on flop. I assume we just keep value betting.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a spade to be betting here, because I think he's checking back some flush draws on flop. We'll go for a small bet. No, it likes 2/3 mostly. So let's check it out. So a little bit of leading here, but we checked. Yeah, I think the 7/7 on board is kind of bad for them. Kind of similar to like we saw that King 5/5 board. So like I would think Queen 7/7 is even worse because we're out of position defending a lot of even offsuit sevens down to like 7/4 off, and we're not really three betting much of them. So like just looking at how often we have trips here. So in position has trips 5% of the time, out of position has it 8% of the time. So yeah, that's fairly large advantage for trips out of position. Let's see something here.
So how often do we lead on this board?
Like 10 to 11%.
Okay. So
Nothing's really sticking out in terms of the combos, though. Honestly,
okay.
guess we can just check some spades here, maybe. Yeah, there's still not a ton.
And do we check raise with this queen nine?
Let's see. No, actually, we don't do it that often. Kind of surprised.
So we
I would
don't
think.
check raise any top pair basically. We only check raise the thing that sticks with the 7.
Well, we check raise Queen Jack is by far the most check raise queen. And a whole lot of sevens. The flush draws with the high card, low card. Kind of interesting how like these aren't raising. Usually like these ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4 will raise.
They like to raise, I think, on the other sim because they had interaction to make the straight. Now
Oh, they are like a 3 straight, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I can actually pull that back up real quick. Hopefully we're not confusing people too hard. Yeah, that makes sense to me. They got 3 to a straight.
The board was deuce deuce 5.
The one I just looked at was 9/9 deuce, but it's the same
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to figure out what we're check raising here. I mean, maybe what about like Jack 10 of spades, 10/9 of spades? Those have a 3 straight. And those are probably just too good to start raising. So again, some of these high card, low card offsuit hands with a single spade seems reasonable. You know, it likes doing it with like a king, so it blocks his king queen. I think even king 7 is opening pre, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So the king's a pretty good blocker.
Yeah, king 6 block king queen and
I'm sorry, king 7 is trips, but even like king 6, king 5, king 4.
yeah, king 6 is it blocks king queen and it blocks 6 7. So it
Yeah,
has
yeah. And well, they don't actually have 7 6 in range, but
suited.
blocking king 7 is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Yep.
All right.
So yeah, that's actually see like king of spades, 6 of hearts. I'm just trying to see if like, you know, since there's spade and diamond on board, you would need 6 of heart or 6 of club to block the 7 6 suited. But it looks like the frequencies are pretty much the same. Looking at like those top 3 combos, I didn't know if maybe because like in my mind, like king of spades, 6 of heart would be like the perfect combo because it blocks 7 6 suited.
Yeah.
But it looks like it isn't quite that picky. Sorry, just give me a second here.
Oh, you take your turn. It's fine. Out of position really has a low EV.
Yeah. Well, because I think if we go back, what's the equity? Yeah, the equity is like almost 60-40. I guess it would just be easier for us to go to Range Explorer to get the full picture of the raising range. So raising a lot of trips, like really raising like 80% of its trips combos. So yeah, like these low ace highs with the spade, the low king highs with the spade, some immediate flush draws with the spade, and then a lot of flush draws. I guess 6-5 is kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, 6-5, 8-6 kind of makes sense. They got wrapped around the 7. They can turn open enders.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, let's look at this as played though real quick. Oh shoot, I clicked away. Hold on. I can bring the evaluation back up. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, so it actually went check, check, 6 of clubs. So looks like kind of mixing all 3 sizes here. The actually we're overbetting most often. I mean, does he cap himself really hard when he checks? I mean, he still has plenty of top pairs.
Top set.
Yeah, but I mean, like those are very few. Looking at exactly top out. So what do we have here? Queen of club, 9 of club. Just let me do this instead. I think, yeah, I mean, they are betting more than the worst queens because you saw he's checking back some of his worst queens. So I thought we would just want to start getting value with our better queens. But it does slightly prefer checking. Really a very, very small mistake though. So we are still like pure checking with our nut flush draws. It's kind of interesting. You know, I suppose, you know, we do need to make sure we have, you know, some flush draws that check, of course, on turn. What about like our 5-4? Yeah. I'm just noticing how we could have turned a bunch of straight draws on this card too. So like 9-8, 10-8, 10-9 are betting quite a bit. Same thing with 5-4. 5-3, not as much. 4-3, not as much. Yeah, so kind of interesting here with this 5-3 suited. We're not betting the diamonds as much. I would think that's probably because in position on flop is probably checking back with some diamonds a decent amount. Yeah, like check these out here. Since they don't want to get blown off the backdoor equity. So, all right, anyway, we're on turn. We bet 18. They call. Deuce of spades. Yeah, we're just good to bet, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, as played on river, let's see what the flushes are looking like. So we have a flush 6% of range. They have a flush 9%. So yeah, I guess we don't need to be that careful about having a spade blocker. So we're betting like all of our queens. Let me just pull this up. So the small size is the one used most often. I'm just trying to figure out like which sizes we're using our flushes. So like I'm looking right here as I click through these buttons here. So we're actually checking a lot of flushes. Not sure why. Anyway, let's go back to this small bet here. So it's a lot of our top pairs. Then looks like a bunch of blockers. Yeah, like just like middling cards. And really not bluffing with any ace highs at all, pretty much. And very few king highs. Which makes sense. I mean, we do have a sliver of showdown value. All right, we can move to the next one. All right, so here, I would think we just bet small probably with our range.
Yeah.
Yep. I wonder if we're checking anything there. I think probably not.
No.
Yeah, we're not. And the equity is like 60-40 just about, so makes sense. So I think we just check, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're checking back a decent amount of aces on flop.
Yeah.
Another ace. I think we
how
can
we
bet
do.
small, right?
Yeah.
I know it likes check. It's not that big of an error though. Let's just jump into the river. Well, I guess this is kind of interesting here. So in position is not betting too much, but they are using that large size. So that definitely makes sense to me because this board is very, I mean, despite not having a flush draw, it's quite dynamic with all the straight draws available.
Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, this is like a bread and butter large bet spot. Because, we're defending with like even all the offsuit combos that are straight draws. I mean, even like, what about like 6-4 offsuit? Yeah. So we have tons and tons and tons of straight draws here. I mean, I can even show you here. So out of position, has either a gut shot or an open ender, 16% of their range, which is pretty big. Just curious how often we actually raise. Yeah, we actually don't raise that much as out of position if they did bet flop. Probably because a lot of our straight draws don't have an overcard to the jack. But I would think we're still raising stuff like 9-7, 9-6. Because having that overcard to the 8 is nice. Probably 7-6 and 6-4 too. Let's find out. So 9-6 is not raising that much. Surprised, not really sure. Like 9-7 is raising more than 9-6. They're kind of similar hands, right? Am I missing something here? 9-6 is a gut shot, right?
Yeah, but 9-7 can make a higher one as well.
Right.
And
So
higher straight has more value, basically.
yeah. Oh, no, 9-7 is a double gut shot.
Yeah.
I wasn't realizing that. Okay, that makes sense then. So what about like 7? Yeah, 7-6 is just calling. I guess it really wants to have an overcard to the 8 at least. 6-4 just calling. Yeah, okay. So I'll try to move through this one a little bit quicker. Kind of the same story here. They're betting with the non-backdoor flush draw, with some combos a little bit more. All right, so we check flop. Ace of diamonds. Yeah, we're actually pure checking. I mean, it's not really surprising, but kind of interesting that it's pure check. I guess they are checking back kind of a lot of aces. I can actually look real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, so when they check back, a third of their range is ace high on flop, so makes sense. Then they're betting a lot on the turn. So yeah, they had 9-6 of diamonds. I would think it bets a little bit. Yeah, it bets like half the time. I guess it's the straight draw is not nutted that it has, and flush draw is also not great. Doesn't have an overcard to the jack, so yeah, it wants to just take its free river. All right, so ace of clubs. We're mostly overbetting here, 66 into 55. But I would think so. Like, are we betting like any of our eights? I guess just our very best ones are betting a little bit. I'm not sure why like king eight's not betting, but queen eight is. And I mean, we do have a fair amount of aces that we check down to the end, especially because on the turn we're range checking, so we still have all of our aces in range. So yeah, I guess we're not betting with some of these busted straight draws because like on turn in position is checking back with some of its like mediocre straight draws to just take its free equity. So it prefers to bet something like this that doesn't block the straight draws as heavily. Like I get it that a 7 is part of a straight draw, but it's not like 7-6 is blocking it with 2 cards.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like the very bottom of range, 4 deuce, 4-3 seems reasonable. All right, that was a good one. Okay, so we don't have much going on here, but I guess we do block some of his better jacks.
Want to bet large.
I'm not sure if we want to bet big or not. I guess he does have like 6-4 off in range for an open ender. We'll try it. I like betting small, but it's not too much of a mistake. So now we have an open ender, but we're not blocking any flush draws. We don't have any overcards to the jack or the queen. I think we just check here.
Yeah, for a bet call, I think so.
I think bet call would be pretty nasty.
No, but we just bet and we got called. So equity shifts from the flop. So now on this turn, a jack could fold, but it's not likely. It's not
Nah, there's no way a jack is folding.
Yeah. So it's not like if an ace came or the flush card came or stuff like that. So I think nothing changed and we want to protect our equity.
But I mean, our equity is just not really that great here. Like a spade could not be good, and we have no like overcard backup to the jack or the queen.
Yeah,
I think it's just a check.
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost a pure check. I wonder if we have a spade, it makes a difference. Probably not. We just fold. So I'm mostly betting small here, checking a little bit, checking some of our bottom pairs, some of our bad fives, then some like high card stuff. So we'll say we bet 36, call, queen of clubs. Mostly betting 2/3. Yeah, 10-9 seems to be a pure check, even with a spade. I mean, a spade makes a bet a little bit more often, but only like 10% more often. And even 10-9 of spades wants to check here. That's kind of surprising. I guess because even like say we bet 2/3, like I think they might fold some of their worst flush draws. I could be wrong. Yeah, I mean like 10-4 spades is mixing. I mean calling is a losing play, but it's still mixing just to balance. 7-4 as a straight draw, 8-4 is almost a pure fold. So yeah, I think that's the problem with betting 10-9 of spades even. All right, that was pretty interesting. Okay, I think there's a chance this is a big bet board. Maybe not. Obviously, we don't have a ton going on besides gutter, though they don't have ace jack, which is kind of relevant. So our gutter is to the nuts in theory, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think, small or big?
Mm.
I think it's probably just small because like they still have to fold out a ton when we bet small.
Yeah, that's small.
It likes checking. That's kind of surprising. I guess we want to protect our bad gut shot.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. So nothing really changes here. We're full rainbow. I think we probably bet because he'll fold out all of his backdoor flush draws that have bricked out on this turn. What do you think? I mean, 60 into 90 seems reasonable. What do you think?
I say we bet pot.
Well, we have 60 into 90 or 109 into 90.
109.
I just don't think that's really necessary. Because I think if we bet 60, he probably has to fold out some threes. Like even if we bet 109, I would think he's calling with almost all of his queens.
I think he has to fold a bunch of queens to 109. And like he had two opportunity to bet. He checked the flop, checked the turn. So
Yeah, good point. All right, let's try 109. Oh, it says it's the best play, but it's only done 1% of the time. And we just drilled the nuts, by the way. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, so it looks like on the turn, betting 60 and 109, we're really, really close. So yeah, we're all in. What a sucker.
no. That's professional poker, man.
So we're mostly betting small. Kind of similar patterns that we've seen here. Checking its worst second pairs, betting the worst aces, checking the ones in the middle, and then betting these because these can really all defend against check raises. Betting all of our kings, checking some of the worst ones. So what do we have Jack 9 suited? Well, it says betting and checking are the exact same EV for Jack 9 suited. And then as we've been seeing here, it likes betting the non-backdoor flush draw. Though I would think this hand would be good enough to call a check raise with the backdoor flush draw. But it's also kind of problematic. We don't have an overcard to the king or the queen with this hand. So I can see how you'd want to play it slow with Jack 9 with the backdoor. So anyway, we bet 18 in game. They called 6 of hearts. They checked. So we're over betting the most often, not by a ton. So it looks like we're over. So when we do bet here, it looks like we're over betting like 2/3 of the time. And
Yeah, we're mostly over betting though.
yeah. So like this is the over bet here, which makes up about like 2/3 of this betting chunk. And then the other part is betting 2/3 and then a tiny bit of 1/3. So what do we have again? Jack 9. Yeah, so it just likes taking the equity though. You know, for some reason, if you look here over here on the right, you can see bet 109 is 17.88 EV.
Yeah.
And the second best would be check at 17.85. I wonder what else we're like blasting with. Ace deuce. I'm not really sure why, because like the ace blocker isn't super relevant since they're 3-betting ace king and ace queen. So like I'm really not sure why. I guess though it does make them, I don't know. I mean, obviously when we overbet, they're going to fold a bunch of queens. Or not really, actually. Well, they're folding all their back doors. So let's see, we overbet, they fold 56%. What if we bet 2/3, they fold 40%. Yeah, so it really looks like we're just betting, you know, like some of our lowest equity hands and then the obvious value hands, really checking like all of our queens. That seems reasonable. Yeah, I guess like 5-4 is an open ender, but doesn't want to bet since has practically no overcards to the board except for the 3. And then like 7-5. Yeah, you just got to protect your equity with these bad straight draws with pretty much no backup in terms of high cards.
That's really nice, man. Because I think I would lean towards betting my four here, especially when I miss by backdoor.
Yeah, yeah. I think just the thing is like your equity is kind of just in a weird spot here where like you don't have enough equity to call a check raise, but you also have too much equity to fold to a check raise.
Yeah.
I mean, our equity is only 25% versus their range. I mean, because yeah, you only have one card to come, so it's not like you're on flop with an open ender. But like still at the same time, you know, obviously like Jack 4 is 9% equity, so that's fine to, you know, just bet and fold if you happen to get raised. Granted, they're not really raising at all, but yeah. All right, let's keep going. I wonder if we call versus small bet here. I would think so. This is like one of the best high card hands we can have. Or I'm sorry, well, obviously all our ace highs, but
I don't think so.
I honestly think we do probably call.
No, we fold.
Well, because I mean, like I think we would rather have this king queen instead of like ace 5 with no spades. Like we have 2 overcards to the board, whereas a bunch of these ace highs don't. But I get it. We do have a lot of single spade hands. I think we might call. I was wrong. Not the worst mistake I've ever made, but definitely a mistake. Yeah, check. I mean, we block queen jack. I think we probably bet.
Nope. Take the showdown.
I mean, this is like the worst possible hand we can have.
Yeah, but the spade completed. So if he has a hand like two a spade, he's not betting it somehow, or
I
like
get it, but I feel like he also has like, you know, a lot of eights or threes or fours.
he's not folding.
I mean, he has to fold some of these
He
third
does not
pairs.
have that many threes or folds at all. So he really has eights and nines, and I don't think we're gonna print money by trying to get a nine to fold here.
Says it bets 30 almost all the time on river.
Okay.
But at the same time, we were just supposed to fold on flop. So it's mostly betting smalls since it's monotone. Makes sense. We're not really raising too much here. And it is kind of interesting how we're actually not raising a single flush. Probably because he's betting range, so we don't have a ton to defend against in theory. Like he's betting range with a very wide range too. So I think that's pretty interesting how we're not raising a single flush. And over here, these are just single spade hands, but these are,
Did you allow it to dunk or out of position?
yeah, no donking. I think you really don't donk on monotone boards like ever, just because you're calling with every suited hand, and it's way more likely you have clubs, hearts, diamonds opposed to spades. And we also don't have nines, pocket eights. So yeah, we are raising some nines for value / protection. So 8-3 is two pair. The 9-3 is just calling. I mean, I've seen that a couple times where solver will check call top and bottom. Doing some raising with like this queen 3 blocking bottom set with the overcard and a decent flush draw. All right, anyway, so bet 18, call, 4 spades, check, 10 of diamonds. Yeah, I mean, our hand's pretty much, actually, I don't know, hold on. Yeah, our hand's like pure betting small. I mean, I guess his range that gets to this river here is like, it's his whole entire range from the get-go, since he bets range on flop, so he gets to the river with his whole entire range. Yeah, so I think that's why actually a small bet is really effective.
Okay.
I obviously I didn't realize that when we were playing this, but since we've gone through this, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, even to the really small bet, he's folding his threes, mostly folding his fours. Looks like he's bluff raising some of them, which is kind of weird. Yeah, then obviously raising like his good flushes. His strategy is kind of weird. Like you see this, like he's just raising like random pairs at some frequency.
Yeah.
I guess it's like for value. I mean, so like if we bet small river and he jams, what are we calling with that's not a flush? I assume we're calling some. No, we're actually only calling flushes. So what's the point of even like raising something in like ace 4? Oh, okay, I get it. I guess, yeah, we fold out better pairs that bet a little bit, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. It raised because you only get to call with flushes. So
Yeah.
you have better stuff to fold.
Yeah, I didn't think, there was much reason for us on the river here to be betting something like a 9 or an 8, but it looks like we are doing that a little bit. Actually, well, I mean, these have spades in the hand. I don't know. All right, we'll keep going. So here, I just bet small, I assume.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly see what our strategy is. I would think we're betting small with our range. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he is not raising very much. And like before, he's again not raising a single flush, which is interesting. I wonder if we call this one. This is kind of interesting here.
Yeah.
You think we do call?
Yeah, we need to defend 80% of our range, I think. Or maybe less, but in this
Yeah,
area.
between 70 and 80, yeah. But just like our equity realization is pretty bad with this hand.
Doesn't matter. We have third pair. I'm gonna
But I
spike.
mean, there are plenty of times where you overfold MDF out of position from the big blind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're gonna spike the 4.
Yeah, running fours. I mean, like,
Snap call.
I
The
wonder
guy,
if
he opens the button, he bets range.
I wonder if like it would rather call with like queen 5 with a backdoor flush draw. Since a queen could make the best hand, obviously a 10 would give us the nuts. We can check that out. Sure, we'll say call. It's a fold. Not by much though.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out of here. He had the nuts. So he's actually mixing here. Yeah, he probably just wants to protect against, we have a ton of 10x here. And we have a decent amount of pair plus draws with the king and the jack. So what did he bet? 18. Yeah, see, so like I was saying, queen 5 with the back door. It's making like 3 chips. The jack 4 off. Jack of diamonds 4 hearts is losing 0.03.
Okay. It's really interesting, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice insight.
I mean, like this type of thing happens fairly often, even like, I think like under the gun versus big blinds versus the big blind, like it's in some Matt Affleck webinars, he's shown where you have to defend like a little bit tighter than you would think just because how your range is constructed.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a concrete example, but
Here we're folding like 60%, man.
yeah. I would think, I bet the equity here is like 35, 65. What do you think?
Yeah. I'll go 40-60.
No, 33, 66.
Hmm.
Because obviously, yeah, this board's horrible for the big blind. And we have no ace, ace, no king, king, no jack, jack, no ace, king, no ace, jack, suited or offsuit. I mean, we have queen 10, but that's not much. And I mean, we have queen 10, pretty much pure, but that's like all we have here. And, his sets have decent equity, even versus the straight.
Yeah. And he's always betting small, right?
No, mixing half and half. I think he just really wants to push his equity here. Yeah, I guess even our 10x want to have a backdoor flush draw. Since, kind of like, like 10-9 and 10-5 are kind of like similar hands here in theory. Like hitting a 9 wouldn't really do much for us. And same thing with, so like hitting a 9 or a 5 are kind of the same. And I think just likes having that hair of equity extra on the turn. Because, when spade comes on the turn, I assume we're pure calling like a 10-5 where we need to fold a 10-9. Is there like an equity realization button here? I don't think there is. Well, I guess EV is kind of the same as equity realization now. I need to read up on my modern poker theory. Yeah, I mean, it's like the EV of like these 10-6, 10-5 with the backdoor is like 2, but like a 10-9 is just barely negative. All right, so that was an interesting one. Let's keep going. I probably only have like 10, 15 more minutes, just so you know. All right, so here, I wonder if big blind's leading. I bet they are a little bit.
And not on this board.
You don't think? I mean, we don't have 8-6 offsuit. They have 8-6 offsuit. They have 9-7 offsuit, which we don't have. They have 7-5 offsuit, which we don't have. We'll check that out though. Anyway, so here we are with a decent second pair, no spade. I think we just might want to check. Maybe
No,
bet if we had a spade.
we bet small.
I
We
feel
get
like we're,
value weaker sevens. We get value from flush draws.
I mean, he has a lot of pair plus draws though here though.
We get
Eh,
value from them.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe we want to bet big. And then if we have something like ace nine, which is like the nuts here in theory, since he doesn't have tens plus, he doesn't have 9-7s or fives. I get it. He can flop a straight or some two pair, but
Yeah, he doesn't have that many fives. I don't think he has that much interaction. He has like the spades, some nines, but the nine is mostly good for us, not for him.
also if we bet small, he gets to call us with like
It's fine.
queen jack single spade.
That's fine. Or I don't think he gets to fold queen jack with a spade here.
All right, we'll say small. Yeah, I thought there was a chance we check. Our hand's just kind of like in the middle here. Let's take a look. Yeah, so we're leaning a little bit, not really. Equity is a little bit closer than we've been seeing in the past. It's 45, 55. Yeah, our hand's kind of like in the middle here where it wants to check a lot of our sevens. And yeah, like we'd rather bet like 8-7. We have 4 outs to the gutter opposed to 3 outs to hit 2 pair. See, we're like mixing 2/3, 1/3 about evenly. All right, we can just keep going. All right, this one's not going to be very interesting. Okay, I think we want to bet big on this one. Even with our exact hand, I think we want to bet big as well.
I think we want to check.
No, because I mean, even if we happen to get check raised, we can just call.
Yeah, that's fine, but we have one of our strongest ace sides. And I think they mostly want to check, especially here. We have equity. We win for the times it goes check, 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 check. We mostly win. We can hit for free.
I like betting small, just barely.
Okay, but I also thought like his range is super condensed, so it's gonna
His
connect.
range is condensed. What do you mean? What do you mean it's condensed? Look at his range.
Yeah, it's condensed.
It's condensed to like every single combo in the deck.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what condensed means, my man.
Yeah, he doesn't have the top, he doesn't have the bottom. He has like all these middle-ish suited ends. And for the offsuit ones, they're like mixed frequency, so he doesn't have them that often. So I think this is highly condensed. Has like all the high
Okay.
cards at 100%.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of condensed to like the middle, is what you're saying.
And I think when you
Some of
have
the bottom.
the, but I think it connects well with the board, so I just thought checking would be better. But betting small still.
Yeah, I mean they're very close. So we're here on the turn. He checked again to us. So we're not blocking any of the pairs. We're not blocking these diamonds.
Overbet.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's either big bet, possibly an overbet. I'm just
Overbet.
concerned when we overbet, like what can he even call us with?
Two pair straights, like the
He just
lowest.
doesn't have that often, though, is the thing.
He does. He does have plenty of jacks. So
All
we
right.
value all the weaker straights hard. We value the sets.
It likes 2/3, but it was fairly close. It was pretty close. Whoops. So we're mostly betting small. What do we have? Ace Jack with a spade. So the EVs are very close with all these combos, even with a spade or without a spade.
But those that want to check are like ace queen, ace jack, the stronger ones, and those that are betting almost always are the weak ones. So it kind of
Yeah, yeah.
matches my idea a little bit. Not really, because there are high frequency bets for the most part, but those that want to check are these cards.
Yeah. I mean, I would think just betting the range here is a fine plan.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
That range small. This is trademark, by the way.
So we check, queen of diamonds. Kind of interesting how they're not really betting at all. Let me bring this up. Yeah, so it's like an ace is the very worst for them. Then the lower cards are like okay. All right, so check to us. When we have ace of spades, jack of clubs. Yeah, so they're very, very close between the two. I wonder when we overbet, I assume he has to fold some flush draws. Yeah, definitely. What if we bet 2/3? Yeah, he still has to. He's mixing some folds with flush draws. Yeah, because I mean, like having like 5-4 spades here is not a great spot for you to be in. I wonder, are we checking back some spades? I would think so. Yeah, like our paired ones with the queen or the 10. Some of our worst nut flush draws. All right, you good with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So he bets 2/3. I definitely would have thought versus small bet we check raise. Do you think we still check raise? He's probably betting range.
I don't think so. I think we call.
Okay, yep, it's pretty close to a pure call. And we just fold. Let's quickly see what we're check raising. So here's like a pure big bet. It's kind of interesting. And we're not raising anything at all.
Yeah, I thought so. This board, no, there's no draw. The back door never wants to raise.
And I guess
And
also the in position player doesn't have very many draws on this board. Like
I
they
think,
don't have 7-6 offsuit. They don't have 9-7 offsuit. They don't have 6-4 offsuit.
what about hands like pocket deuce or pocket threes? Maybe they want to raise a bit.
You mean out of position versus the bet? Probably not. I mean, we have plenty of straight draws that we would want to raise. I mean, to the big bet, deuce, threes, fours are just folding.
Okay.
Yeah. Here is pretty similar to the last board. I guess we just bet big.
Yeah.
Kind of
Get that
cheating.
one.
Yeah. Okay. 10. Assume we just keep going. So I mean, the SPR is getting kind of small here. I bet there's a chance we just go all in 194 into 127.
I would bet.
Um,
I would bet 2/3.
but I mean, like betting 2/3 just sets up a weird SPR. Like you see the stack sizes here. Well, I guess at the same time, we got to think we bet 2/3 on flop, so we narrow his range a little bit to not so many floats.
Now here,
And it's a full rainbow board now, so I mean, like, we don't need a ton of protection. Like, obviously, I assume we're betting. You know, we're not checking, but
either a small or a 2/3, right? Whenever,
I think it's
yeah,
either the small or the all-in.
a small.
All right, he likes the small. Raised us, okay. Got him. Yeah, and he's like never raising pretty much. Well, at least to the 2/3, he's never raising. To the small bet, he's raising the best aces he has and some like 3 straight, 3 flush stuff. He's not really raising any of his immediate draws, immediate straight draws. All right, so we bet 36, call, 10 of hearts, check. Yeah, so we actually are using that 2/3 a fair bit, even though, like I said, I felt like it set up a weird SPR. Guess it doesn't matter. So we're betting every single ace, most of our tens. Yeah, I guess on flop he's calling with plenty of middle pair, bottom pair, so even having a 10 here in position is pretty good. Even something like 10-9 off has 67% equity. And then betting like our high card, low card. I wonder, is he calling us with like king, queen of diamonds on flop to the big bet? Yeah, he is. It's not making a lot of money, but he is. So by checking all our bottom pairs, you know, it makes sense. Our third pair is mostly checking. Guess betting our very best one here with king 7. Whoops. Yeah, so even like king 10 suited is defending flop a bit as well to the large bet. Sorry, give me a second to get back where we were. I'm just trying to like think why like king 9 off and king 8 off are continuing the bet when they have like okay showdown value. I guess it's because they block the king 10 that he has sometimes. Okay, keep going.
One last hand?
What's that?
One last hand?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for my sister to come over. She was gonna let me know when she's leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably just do like one more good one. So here I think we check because we're kind of in that in-between spot between, you know, like making him fold better aces and call with worse. I think we're just in the middle here.
I think we want to bet small.
I think we want to check. Yeah, 60% check.
Okay.
Turn here.
Now we are betting small for sure.
Yeah, I think with second pair top kicker.
Likes two.
Sorry, I got a phone call. I got distracted. It likes the 2/3 just barely on the turn. Here, I assume we just check. So yeah, we're checking a fair bit on this one. Even though our equity is okay, I think we just have some hands that can't protect against check raise that well. I would think this is a board that's check raised a lot. Sort of. So yeah, we did check, and yeah, see, this is actually like almost a pure check here with the. Actually, I'm sorry, I was looking at ace 8 suited. And then again, you know, it's we got club, diamond, spade on board. It prefers betting with hearts in some spots. Then down here, yeah, maybe something like ace 8, ace 10, ace jack are some of our most checked ones. Yeah, I want to be betting big with like our 10s, jacks, queens, since we're unblocking their top pairs and sort of like the nuts right now.
Aces and pair of nines are mostly betting small. No, a lot of pair of nines are betting large, actually.
Yeah, I wonder why like the ace 9 doesn't bet large as much as these other ones.
It's too strong.
I guess they're 3-betting ace 9 off half the time. Give me just a minute here to look at this. So what did we do here? We check, 8 of clubs. He is betting kind of a lot. Let's see what other cards he's betting with a lot. Pretty much like an 8 and under. He's betting quite a bit. Makes sense, because we're checking back a lot of ace, king, queen, jack high. So yeah, I guess his range gets fairly weak when he double checks to us. So yeah, betting with ace 8 a lot of the time. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong card. My fault. 8 of clubs. He is still betting quite a bit there. Yeah, ace 8 still betting quite a bit. Betting some of our like high card, low card stuff. That is not an ace high. These king 3, queen 3 are both bottom pairs, so just checking. Our third pairs with the 6, mostly checking. Some of these, 2 pair. Even like 8-5 is betting. I assume because our gutter lets us call a check raise. If that happens, 7-5 straight. Just checking our best ace high, king high, makes sense. Yeah, I think we just have a lot of like middling cards to bluff here, so even something like ace deuce we don't need to start bluffing with. So I'm just checking the EV difference between we bet small in game, but I like the 2/3. Ace of clubs, 8 of hearts. Yeah, it's very close. So really they're not raising much when we bet turn. They are raising a lot of top pairs. I think, yeah, because as played, when we check flop, these top pairs are probably, yeah, pretty high equity, like 60-ish, depending. And yeah, I mean, when the 4 straight fills in, we're obviously not betting like our 8s. I wonder if we're betting ace 10, but not really betting any other 10s besides 2 pairs. And mostly over betting. Kind of surprising. 109 into 91. Let's take a quick look at how the strategies split up the bet sizes here. So what's the pot again? 90. All right, so our 2/3 size. Yeah, our overbet has more straights, which makes sense than the 2/3 size. And, most of our top pairs are going into the 2/3. Yeah, actually on the river, we start to bluff with like the ace deuce, for example. What about like king jack? Yeah, king jack's bluffing. Yeah, I think these these jack X are blocking the jack 7. And then what about, yeah, like queen deuce is a good one, blocking queen jack. Yeah, so we have a good amount of just blockers here to pull from. So I guess even for that reason, I'm a little surprised we need to bluff with like ace deuce. I guess because we ourselves were betting with some 2 pairs, some top pairs, and some straights and sets. So we need a fair amount of bluffs to balance that out. And like by the end, this board's kind of all over us. Besides like, ace, king, king, queen. I mean, even king, queen's turning into a bluff with the queen blocker. Kind of surprised that king, queen with a club is betting more than king, queen without. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there.
All right, man.
All right, I will put this on YouTube. It'll probably take a couple hours to like process and all that, but I'll let you know.
Sure, man. Have a good one. Thank you very much, my friend.
All right, yep. Talk to you later. Peace.
Peace out.